Hello everybody and welcome to the 2022 Fall Winter Unboxing with the Barefoot Shoe Review. So we're going to be doing in the next half hour is we're going to be going through a lot of the newer brands and models that came out recently in this winter. If you have any in this upcoming winter, if you have any questions, you can easily pop a comment in the live and we will answer it the moment we see it. So in addition to some of the newer brands and models, we're also going to be reviewing some older models that we haven't really publicized much information yet. Because we got them recently, so even if they're from last year, they've been around for a few years, we still will be giving you the specs and dry info on them. So first up, and we're starting with this one largely due to popular request, this is the Wildlings U. Both the Wildlings U and the Robina are from the winter collection of Wildlings. Now what's really, really unique about them is that they are both probably the lightest winter waterproof boots that you'll ever wear. We'll go back to the U for a second. So it's a little bit similar to last year's fur model, but it's a lot more heavy duty, which sounds funny for a barefoot shoe. It's still extremely flexible, extremely soft. Their famous tabby sole, amazing ground feel, but it's warmer. It has a nice wool lining with a fabric outer. And it also is extremely, extremely water repellent. So they waterproof it for you, but you can waterproof it again. And even the fabric inside prevents water from getting in. There's a really, really carefully constructed lacing system here, which allows you to slip your foot very easily, as well as in addition to the Wildling shoes that other shoes don't have, a little bit of eyelets here, which help secure your foot better in the shoe. I went for a spin with these. They're extremely warm. They're extremely cozy. But most of all, they're extremely lightweight. This is the Wildling U. They retail for $150 on Wildling's site. Wildlings has a US store and they also ship internationally. The next one, and this is Sarah's shoe of choice, this is the Robina. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it's waterproof as well. It's not as water repellent as the U, but it's definitely cozier. It's got this nice knit collar. If Sarah the man behind the camera, the woman behind the camera wants to add any feedback on the shoe, you're more than welcome to. Very, very cozy. Same concept with the extra eyelets on top, which hold it better. Very, very cozy lining as well. Unlike the U, it doesn't have wool inside, but because of the knit collar, it gives more of a slipper-like feel, and like every Wildling shoe, it is extremely flexible with an extremely thin tabby sole. And best of all, it is also vegan. So if you're looking for something that's warm and cozy, then the Robina may be what you're looking for. This also retails for $150. If anyone has any questions about Wildlings before I move on, now's the time to drop a comment in the feed. Once again, if you missed the intro and you already missed us covering the two Wildlings, this will be saved on my Instagram grid, on my page, and I'll also be putting it on my YouTube channel as well. Next up, we're going, yes.
Tolos asked, I've never worn Wildlings. What are your favorite model of theirs?
Wow. So first of all, Tolos is a cool guy because he's actually the founder of this shoe, which we will be reviewing shortly in the next few minutes. So what's unique about Wildling is primarily three things. First of all, the owners are Israeli. Their names are Ron and Anna. I actually had Anna on my podcast a few weeks ago. Number two, that wasn't one of the few things that's just like, cool, makes it intimate and homey for me. Their whole company's mission is regenerative. So they're trying to make everything from sustainable materials, make their workplace a very, very regenerative, friendly environment. They're very open to all types of people. And they have a large variety of low ankle models, such as the Tolos, and they have, boots, and they have sandals, which we'll be showcasing at the end of this live. It's hard to pick one, but every single one of their shoes has that tabby sole, which I believe is 4 millimeters. They're definitely some of the most flexible, lightest, most comfortable for their flexibility and lightweightness on the market. So you just stalk their site and you can pick something you like. I like the Ogon, which is like a nice bright orange. They tend to also make things in very, very vibrant colors, which is really cool. My wife has the Manul, which is the undyed, unbleached one. It's just like raw, unprocessed materials. But they're all a very, very similar feel. So it's a matter of personal taste and aesthetics.
Diego from Origo Shoes says hi.
Hey, Diego, what's up? Diego, nice to see you. We got Origo coming up. But now that all the shoe owners are done commenting, we're going to go back to our live. Hey, Diego, thank you so much for everything. So Moving on to Belanca. Belanca is a European-based brand, and they recently launched what we call their newest line, Barbarics. Now, Barbarics, I have a classic Belanca shoe here to show you, does not have the same sole as the classic Belanca shoes. The classic Belanca shoe, this is the Belanca Easy, it's a slip-on, have their classic 4mm sole, which is a gum-based sole, very, very flexible shoe, but we're not focusing on the Easy right now. It's an older model. We're focusing on Barbarics. So they have a little bit more of a sole with a little bit of better traction, but they share the same super, super thin 4mm sole. The only thing being is that they also come with an extra insole, which is quite a thick one, which can give extra comfort for those who are not ready to go gung-ho barefoot yet. Now, two things unique that I really like about this model, this is the Rebel Blue model, is number one, like all Belanca's things, they have a very, very wide toe box. But what's really unique about it, it has a sock-like upper heel, which really allows you to slip your foot into the shoe with and without socks. I did notice, though, when I wore this without socks, that the little plastic things here were chafing into my legs, which I didn't find so fun. So even though this sock-like membrane is very, very comfortable without socks, you just want to be wary of chafing, so be careful of that. They have this very, I don't know the right term, maybe hick or hippie or chick, what's the right term here? Feel to them, which means people are looking for a more like urban-y, hippie, hipster shoe. I think I'm using the terms right there. They might like this a lot better than conventional barefoot shoes. At the same time, it looks kind of like there's an elevated heel, but your foot actually kind of ends right here. That's what I really like about Barbarics. They're a Belanca sister company. They have tons and tons and tons and tons of different models and colors. Sarah and I just like these models specifically. I have the Rebel Blue. Sarah has the Rebel Green.
One thing about the tongue,
yes,
which I appreciate on there, that it's a solid piece. I have a tongue on Belanca that always
the
slips.
Trail Walker.
Yeah, always slips to the side, so these don't move. Obviously, it's one solid piece.
So we got some feedback from the woman behind the cam, is that the Belanca Trail Walker, which is not shown here, the tongue moves a lot, like, you know, most conventional shoes. And that can sometimes get annoying right here because the tongue is an attached sock membrane that doesn't happen as much. That's all for Barbarics. So moving on to something I'm really stoked about, but even though I'm really stoked about it, I actually didn't try it yet. So definitely have to get on that. This is Belanca's Ranger. Now, Belanca did have a Ranger last year. This is the V2 version. Does someone have questions? This is the V2 version. So the V2 version has an upgraded upper. The lining is warmer. The outside is do we pronounce it as nubuck? Is that the correct way to pronounce it? Suede. Now, normally, suede is not the best option for a water-resistant shoe. By the way, I'm moving so much because I'm actually doing the live in a squat position, classic, you know, barefoot athlete style. But because a squat position is not inherently the most comfortable thing for a long time, I'm going from kneeling to lying to sitting because I prefer not to sit for a live. I prefer, you know, moving and being my usual ADHD self. So back to what we were saying, suede is normally not the best option for a winter shoe. But because it's an oiled nubuck, it's an oiled outer, you can easily get this wet, which is awesome because it's a really, really sexy shoe. Even Sarah, woman behind the cam, who's pickier than me, thinks this is a sexy shoe. Size 32, it fits me perfectly, which can sometimes get funky with sizing because Belanca shoes, because, you know, go all over the place a little bit. Eyelet system, super wide toe box. Unlike their conventional shoe, once again, I'll go back to the Easy. It's quite a different rugged sole. It's extremely slip resistant, so which can make it awesome for hiking, walking, running, all sorts of outdoor adventures. I'm a little particular about my winter boots because I don't like when an ankle restricts my mobility. So if the ankle is stiff, like you can see here how not stiff the welding is, I wouldn't even call this stiff. It's nice and not stiff, but let's say sometimes models of people barefoot or even freaks can get a little bit stiff at the top, and I'm not a fan of that. So the more this can smush, the better my ankle mobility is going to be. That is the Belanca Trail Walker. The Belanca Trail Walker retails for $170. It is extremely warm, and it has a nice, warm, cozy lining, as you can see here. That is all for the first row. Does anyone have any questions about the shoes that we've mentioned so far? Sweet. Moving on to Barefoot Pals. So I really, really fanboy about these shoes. And the reason is because in my review that we just did last week, we rated these an 11 out of 10. Now, most of my rating system is 1 to 10. I definitely think that the rating system is kind of flawed because there's no shoe out there that's gotten below a 6 or 7. Like, most barefoot shoes are decent. They may not be the best, they may not be the most comfortable, but they're awesome. These got an 11 out of 10. They look a little funky off your feet. In fact, me showing them here on camera doesn't really do them justice, but on their feet, on my feet, they look amazing. You can look up our review on the barefootshoereview.com. They're the lightest, most flexible shoe I've ever worn. This is how it looks folded up. Now, Wildlings is also known to be an extremely flexible shoe, and I'm just going to compare them for a second. So we got Barefoot Pals, okay, it's folded up, and I'm going to fold my Wildlings. Wildlings are also pretty flexible. But weight-wise, this came in a flat envelope. So I love my Wildlings, but lightweight-wise, this definitely wins. It's made by Gouchy Ninja. It's his new brand. When he wanted to mass make a shoe that he was kind of, working more in the custom, and he makes custom shoes, so now he wanted to mass produce them. It has a rubber Vibrant Flex sole, leather upper. If the leather gets damaged, it can be resoled. The sole could be replaced, the leather could be replaced. They're super comfortable. In fact, it's one of the few shoes that when I wear, I have no urge to take them off. Even when I wear a barefoot shoe, such as Blanca or even Wildlings, I want to take them off because I like being barefoot. These shoes, they're so minimal that you barely even realize you're wearing shoes. These are Barefoot Pals. They retail for $195. Their 40% off sale ended recently. And you can use our discount code of TBSR for 10% off. Next up, we have the Tolos. So Tolos is a really funky brand in a good way, simply because it's a small brand that just started up. And when we got them, Sarah and I each got a pair, we got a handwritten letter, which was really unique because let's say shoes like Zero, even when they're sending out samples, they'll just give another, copy-paste generic letter, which is nice. It's intimate, but it's not as intimate as a letter that's written, with a pen and paper. So I'm going to read this real quick. And Tolos, if you're listening out there in the comments, thank you so much for sending this beautiful shoe. So Sean and Sarah, thank you so much for the support as we build Tolos. I hope you like these samples. There's still plenty I'd improve on them, but at a certain point I had to move forward with where they were at. I love that. I think that sometimes in shoes, in dreams, in life, as an entrepreneur, you have to take the leap. If you wait for the day that your product is perfect, then you'll never sell the product. So getting feedback from people or companies is one of the best ways to go about it. In fact, this is the Blanca Ranger 2. It's the same shoe with new and improved version, which I'm sure many companies out there use to improve. Looking forward to building a relationship with the two of you as we make the best shoes in the world. Very aspirational, high goals, and help a lot of people. Like I mentioned, the Instagram would be better for me to get us star publicity close to launch, if you wouldn't mind waiting. So I'm going to review these later in the year. Shoes are scheduled to be completed October 15th. You should look on Tolos' Instagram to stay updated on when they're launched, because I did see a slight schedule change. I'm very curious how these fit. A bit worried the factory sealed them in. So the good news is they fit perfectly. They're not too wide. Sarah and I both have wide, muscular feet. They fit really nicely, really well. Toe box is super wide, and we love them. And even though they're a casual white sneaker, I actually wore them to synagogue, which is more of a formal setting, and they were great. So really happy with them. They're kind of a mix between a Vivo Barefoot shoe and a Zero shoe, and I would like to say they're a lot more comfortable, and I can kind of wear them for anything. Right now they're available in white and black. We both got the white model. Okay, you can look on the sizing chart for how it should fit, but I would say size and a half up if you're not sure what to do, because they're a half a size. I ordered a half a size larger on me, and they fit me perfectly. So that's about sizing. Looking really forward to see Tolos' future, if they launch more models, if they launch grippier models. And what I really like about the owner, after corresponding with him for a while, is that he's an athlete. He played hockey for many years, and all these shoes, they can be the barefooted shoes in the world, but if they're not developed with your gait in design, when designed, if they're not developed with how your foot should function as a foot, then it's a problem. Because just because something's a piece of cloth or a piece of fabric and dumped on your feet and it's wide toe box, it doesn't mean that it's a barefoot shoe that will hold your foot well and allow your foot to optimize function. So that's the Tolos. I'll just showcase them after that very not so brief introduction. They're flexible, like every barefoot shoe. They're lightweight. They're a wide toe box. And the dude who's running them is a great, solid, genuine dude that we got to correspond with. Any questions? No questions. Moving on. Here we got Ram Good. So this is a cool shoe. It's funkier than most because they don't match. So these are handmade in Africa. At least the mud cloth design on top is. They're intentionally not matched, which is funky because one of the few shoes that I wear that the designs don't really match. I mean, it's different completely. They do have a grounding copper plug, which we have another shoe which we'll be showcasing. Grounding we've spoken about. We've written articles about. Reduced inflammation, improved sleep, which allows you to ground. All the materials of the shoe are natural materials. There's no synthetic materials whatsoever. The leather is buffalo hide leather. The top, instead of it being the normal leather, it's made out of cloth, which adds a swanky design. Now, when you first wear these shoes, they're quite rigid, which is frustrating for a barefoot shoe, even though they have all the other properties of a barefoot shoe. And after speaking to the owner and after stalking their site, when these soles get wet, they become much more flexible. So if you've ever ordered a shoe with one of these naturally tanned leather soles, which is a very, very, natural material, just get them wet. If you get them wet, they'll become extremely flexible. After a few weeks of wearing them, just from your sweat, they become much more flexible. If you want to shortcut that flexibility aspect, just get them wet. I don't mean pour water over them. I mean like rub them in wet grass or let them like soften with moisture from the ground in your feet, and they'll get extremely flexible to the point where you can roll it up to the ball. Even now that it's stiff, it does have give. I just don't want to like crack the shoe in half, but you can feel the future flexibility in the product. That's Round Goods, everybody. Moving on to our next grounding shoe. Oh, and Round Goods, these shoes sell for $195. Backtracking for 1 second. Tolos is retailing for $115. That's on pre-order, so I assume that the price will go up once they fully launch. Next up, this is Ground, which is another grounding company, Sneaker. Now, I have here Ground's other model. This is their previous model, their Pooter slip-on. And they're very, very similar. They both have a grounding plug at the bottom. But what they did here with the grounding sneakers, they made two major changes. One, because of the Velcro strap here, the sneaker fits a lot more snug. Now, slip-ons are great, but slip-ons can be very... Thank you, apologies. Thank you for that correction. Slip-ons are great. They're comfortable. They're easy to put on and off, hence the name slip-on. The problem being that sometimes because they're slip-on and it's not exact specs to your foot unless they're custom made, we'll get to a custom made shoe later on, your feet can like slide a bit in the shoe, which is a little bit frustrating. So what Grounds did here with the sneaker is they made this elastic strap here, which really holds your foot very well. So it's a grounding shoe. It has the similar issue that the Round has, that they're not super flexible, but because it has a rubber outsole instead of just the buffalo hide outsole, it's a lot more flexible than the other one. It's grounding. It's a beautiful, beautiful outer, beautiful blue color. I will use the prayers as well. I'm super happy with them. They are a little stiff, but I'm presuming that as your foot, as sweat and water get into the sole, it will get more and more flexible. Questions until now? We're on our last four shoes with some bonuses. No questions. Okay, so Origo. Diego said hi before. First of all, these look like leather. They're not. They're cactus leather. Now, when I actually got these to sample, I thought cactus leather was the name of like a model or a color or a design, but no, these are actually made out of cactus. Now here in Israel, there's lots of cacti. Cacti is a way to say cactus in plural. It's not cactuses. That's really cool. A vegetable tanned leather, especially if someone either doesn't want shoes that are made of leather because of they're vegan or for religious reasons or whatever it is. You can wear a shoe that looks very, very similar to leather. It's white. It's chick. Is that the right term? And I personally am not a huge fan of white sneakers. When I put these on, my wife said they're really cute on me. My wife's the other half of the Barefoot Shoe Review. And I'm really liking what Origo Shoes did is because they took the mainstream sneaker look that a lot of people out there wear, the Nikes, the Vans, and obviously they're thinner, they're flatter, they're wider toe box, but these are very subtly barefoot. In fact, when you wear these on the street, people don't necessarily know they're barefoot. In fact, they're like, Sean, why are you wearing shoes at all? Or why are you wearing non-barefoot shoes? They're so subtle, and I like that there's brands out there that are making shoes that look mainstream, which means people can switch out to thick, supportive, narrow toe boxes for beautiful shoes like this. These shoes retail for $125, and these are the Origo Cactus Leather with the blue laces in the men's version. Initially, I thought that they were for low volume feet, but the men's fit me very well, so men should fit medium and high volume, women should probably fit low to medium volume. Questions? Show the tongue in the back. There's a little smiley just to make your day. So when you get the shoe, you smile. Great. Moving on. So we got our before sandals, move on to Softstar. Now this is not a new model. In fact, the company Softstar has been making shoes since 1980 something. In fact, I think you'll have to fact check me that they're one of the oldest brands out there that have made barefoot shoes, which is awesome because shoes like Tolos just popped up. Blanca's a few years old, Wildling's a few years old, Barbarics is brand new, Barefoot Pals is brand new, Luna's 10, 15-year craze, Grounds is brand new. So the fact that there's an OG shoe out there, doing its thing is pretty cool. So this is awesome. This is the only custom shoe I own. Is that correct? And everything about the shoe can be customized. You can pick the back color, you can pick the stripe color, you can pick the front, you can pick the laces, You can pick the little lacing within the shoe, and you can pick the type of sole, and you can pick the eyelets. So I picked a rubber Vibram sole because I wanted to use it as a cleat, and I've used it very successfully in flag football and ultimate frisbee and football. I haven't used it for contact sports yet, like tackle football or rugby, because I'm afraid this will rip. Blue and white for Israel, orange for the tackle football team I play for. Gray because it matched best. Rubber sole because I want to use that as a cleat. It's super flexible, it's custom made, and it retails for around $200. Every aspect of the shoe is custom made. You can obviously pick a variety of colors, and you can also pick 2 different outsoles. One's a leather natural sole that's 5 millimeters, and one's another rubber outsole, but just not as grippy. This is the Mega Grip sole, which shares, by the way. No, this is a different type of sole. Mega Grip sole is on a lot of shoes that claim to have good traction. Questions? Good. This is a personal favorite. I'm not allowed to have favorites. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I really like this one. This is Shama's Maximus sandal, like Maximus Meridius Decimus, father of I think I'm getting things confused there. In my opinion, a shoe, a barefoot shoe or sandal, I lost it, good thing I have another one. A barefoot shoe or sandal should have minimal footbed, meaning the thinner the better, but at the same time hold your foot very well. So for example, if I have a really, really thin flip-flop shoe that's 2 millimeters, but it's not holding my foot well, then it's kind of loses its ability to affect your gait in a positive manner. When I say affect your gait in a positive manner, I mean not minimize its impact and foot function. So the Shama has 3 things that I like. 1, it has a Z strap, which holds your foot. It has a toe post, which holds your foot even better. And because it adjusts both in the front and the back, it's not a one-strap system, it really, really holds your foot well. And all that with a 6 millimeter footbed. So I'm a huge fan, not a 6 millimeter, a 9 millimeter footbed. I had their Alpha sandal. I loved it. I still love it, but I wanted something thinner. Boom, they created. They have a few versions of this. They have the regular black version with ultra suede. They have a regular black version with a millimeter of leather here, which is the version I have. And they also have a sandal with copper lacing. I've hiked with it. I've run with it. I've walked with it. It's one of my favorite sandals out there. Besides that it doesn't have grounding, which would probably make it the perfect 100% sandal. I really like it because it combines the perfect attaching to the foot along with the minimal sole. Questions? None. Great. Luna sandals. So these are not a new version, okay? These are, Shama sandals. They retail for around $115. Luna wing sandals. So these are not new, but it's the first time I've tried Luna sandals, so I'm adding them into this review. These are the most rugged sandals. Versed minimalist, meaning there's sandals out there like Bedrocks who have insanely grippy soles. There are sandals that aren't minimalist out there that have insanely grippy soles as well. But for the thinness of the sole, I believe this is 12 millimeters, somewhere between 9 and 12. It has an extremely grippy sole. I got it the day that I went for a 10 kilometer or more, 15 kilometer trail run with them. I was super impressed how grippy they were, how well they did with the terrain, and how well they held my foot. So these retail for $110. Something about Luna sandals that a lot of people complain about is that it's a little bit tricky with the system. This one I honestly didn't find that the lacing system was tricky at all. I actually really enjoyed it. I found that you just have to pull this strap, tighten it, and just adjust this back strap to where it needs to go. Once you adjust it once and find what's good for you, it's good. Also, the wings really hold your foot better. The wings really keep the heel in, a little bit of a heel counter, preventing your heel from slipping out, which can be a little bit of an issue by other thong strap sandals. That is all for what's on the table. We're going to do 2 bonus things that I wanted to do. And one of them is, this is an older model from Wildlings. This is the Wildlings Feather model. This is in black, this is in plum. A little bit of a funky style. Not everyone's cup of tea or cup of cloth. But they took a sole and said, how little cloth can I put on a sole and still have a shoe? Because Wildlings' message, and we started with them and finished with them, is a lot of regenerativeness, and they're trying to minimize material used. So they did that, and they killed it, they crushed it. I walked out in these, and I was just impressed by the fact that it doesn't feel like I'm wearing a shoe at all. It also has a removable insole, so if you want to have even thinner and literally just have the tabby sole, you have the Wildlings shoe right here. They also have them in like a foresty green color. Last but not least, Earthrunners has been around forever. The reason why I wanted to showcase them and finish off the live with them is that they recently released their new lace. They have their elemental laces and their adventure laces. Sorry, not elemental. Their lifestyle laces and their adventure laces. Lifestyle laces are meant to be softer. Adventure laces are supposed to be firmer, but their lifestyle laces have been chafing lately. So I replaced my laces with their new ergonomic laces, which are super soft. I've hiked in these. I've run in these. I've walked in them. And for the first time, there's 0 break-in time and there's no chafing. So thank you, Earthrunners, for creating a lace that's awesome. In addition to an awesome sandal, discount code on Earthrunners is TBSR10 for 10% off. I'll stick around for another 30 seconds, 60 seconds. If anyone has any questions, any of the models, at Shadam B'Ivrit, you can comment below any questions you have in English, Hebrew, or other languages. If it's another language, I may not understand it. But please comment. I'll stick around for a few seconds, and that's it. Once again, if you missed the beginning of the live, the end of the live, the middle of the live, it will be up on my Instagram right now, and then it will be up on my YouTube channel. I'm also hopping on a podcast now with Flow Movement Therapy, so that should be fine. If you have any questions for her, you could. Anything? Sweet. Thank you so much for tuning in. For all those who stayed, Tolos and Origo, thank you so much again for the beautiful shoes and for tuning in. Disclaimer, I did get most of these shoes for free, but my opinion is my own. Any discount codes I might have mentioned are affiliate codes. Peace out. Looking forward to the next review, and thank you so much for your support and everything you do for our page, reaching out, commenting, liking, share the love. And that's all. Have an